Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Rolka. Thank you for checking out my video. Happy New Year! I hope 2022 was great. I hope 2023 is even better. If 2022 wasn't so good, I hope it resolves well and we move on into the new year looking forward to the things that are coming. I have some thoughts for you about what that might look like. Here is my list. Number 1, for our New Year's resolutions for singers, don't make resolutions. What? What are you talking about? Don't make resolutions. Resolutions all too frequently end in failure. We go a week or 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky, and then they crumble around us. Instead of making resolutions, figure out what it is you're looking to do. Figure out that big goal and look at the small parts of it, and then put in place the small incremental steps that are going to get you there. So instead of only looking at the big picture or the resolution, if you will, look at the incremental steps that are required for that goal. Put those in place in a manageable way so that you can move from one day to the next day, still satisfying those resolutions. And then you stand a much better chance of making it to your goal. Next one. Ask questions. That's right. Ask questions. Whether it's of me, or others around you, or those that you're working with, ask questions. If the answer to your question ends with just do it, ask again, or ask for clarification, ask for more information, ask about the process. Asking questions will get you the information, get you to the root of the information that will help you achieve your goals. And yes, I am looking at singing at high notes, directly at you, high notes. That's what I'm looking at. Because too frequently we are told to just belt it out, or just sing it, or really put it out there, or something to that effect, which does nothing for our technique and tells us nothing about the mechanics of actually producing those pitches. Yes, in my warm-up videos, I oftentimes go really high. And if you're singing that warm-up, the presumption is that you'll go there too. The warm-up videos aren't, strictly speaking, teaching videos. That's why I don't talk very much in them. But you'll notice that I've been doing a kind of different set of videos later on there in 2022, and I'm going to be doing more of those in 2023. Yes, I'm still going to do the warm-ups, but I also want to do videos where you will get the information so that you can diagnose what's going on for your voice and make the changes that you deem are necessary for your artistry. Because if you ask me, vocal technique is about fueling your artistry, not about setting up some arbitrary constraints or expectations that you are then meant to adhere to. It is supposed to be, if you ask me, about enabling your creativity, your artistry. Next, health and fitness. Yes, I know, this seems like it's not for singers, but your body is your instrument. And if you take really good care of your body, guess what? It will serve you very, very well. Now, you don't have to be an Olympic power lifter. You don't have to do the big ski jump where they come like flying down the slope and go way through the air. You don't have to do any of that. Assess where you are at health and fitness wise. Assess what would serve you personally better, and see if you can implement that in a regular basis, always with the consideration of your doctor or GP, moving forward into your year. Maybe it's a gradual walk around the block. Maybe it's less than that. But your body is your instrument. Take good care of it, and it will take good care of you, and it will serve you long into the future. And as it pertains to us here, it will serve your singing voice long into the future. Kind of related, very much related, food choices and hydration. Both of these two come up all the time. Let's take it from the back to the front, shall we? Hydration. We're vocalists. We have to keep this thing well lubed. Stay hydrated. Have the means to remain hydrated wherever you are. Case in point, a nice double wall flask. There's going to be loads, well, I guess it's after Christmas now, but there's usually loads of different sales and things like that. Now would be a good time to pick up an inexpensive one. There will likely be sales on high quality ones that will be very, very nicely reduced. And you can take that wherever you go. It will mean that you can remain hydrated and you will not have to risk your voice on water sources that you are uncertain of. And this goes doubly for those of you that are going to recording studios or performing. Take your own water with you if you can. Food choices is not just related to your health and fitness that I mentioned a moment ago, but is also related to your performance practice. I am frequently asked, what can I eat before I gig or sing or fill in the blank, audition, perform, those sorts of things. The time to assess that is not the day before. It's not even the week before, because there's some experimentation that is required. I know that I can no longer have hot sauce before I am meant to sing critically. So if I'm going to do a video, if I'm doing a live event, if I'm going to do a recording, I must avoid my beloved hot sauces, of which there are many varieties that I do so enjoy. Sriracha, not the least of which. And by the way, no affiliations there, I just love that sauce. The time to assess your food choices is well away from any critical performances that you have. Find out if there's anything that produces more phlegm for you, produces any kinds of irritations or inflammations in the voice, or just generally makes you not feel like giving your best. If you're going to give your best, you must be fueled and well rested properly. So do those evaluations away from the performance opportunities. Getting a bit more specific for us here, establish a practice routine. I say this very frequently. Here's the most important part. It needs to be one that you can manage on a day-to-day basis. Yes, it is awesome when you're in the groove, settling down to a really cool practice session and feeling super accomplished at the end of it. But if that only happens once a week, your progress will be slow at best. Your practice regimen ideally will be on a daily basis. Therefore, make it manageable. If all you can guarantee from day to day is 5 to 10 minutes, that is better than skipping every other day or skipping a couple days and then doing half an hour or an hour or something to that effect. The daily practice to reinforce good habits is where it is at. Establish a daily practice that you can manage from day to day. And in case you're wondering, you don't have to be in the mood to do the practice. Sure, it might make it easier to get started. Sure, it might feel better while you're doing it. Sure, it might make it easier on any number of other metrics that I can't think of right at the moment. But you don't have to be in the mood to do it. You just have to do the practice on a daily basis. And when I say practice, I do specifically mean vocalizations, scales, vowel alignment, apagio breath management. If you're working on registration event practice, then registration event practice as well. Ear training. If I play this pitch and I ask you to sing a third of it, and you can't, then, let's just say the appropriate octave. So like if that's too high or too low or something to that effect, let's just assume we're in a reasonably good octave for anybody. The point here, that's a metaphor, right? Like I'm just using it as an example. The point here is that as a vocalist, there are no keys to press down. There are no keys down here to press down for your voice. You have to be able to conceptualize of where that next pitch is. And especially if you're trying to work on upper register performance, above the secondo passaggio, high notes if you like, ear training is a critical part of your ability, not just to execute the notes, because that's one barrier, but to sing them in tune, which one would argue is part of what we want to do when we're singing the song. We want to be able to sing it in tune, and that's part mechanical and part conceptual. And ear training practice will help you with that conceptual part so that everything works much better. You will understand what you are hearing better. You will then be able to reproduce it more accurately. Read music. There are 7 letters and about a dozen or so commonly used symbols. It's just not that hard, and it will inform so much more of what you do with music. The reality of reading music is that to actually learn how to do it probably takes about half an hour. It's just then that you have to remember the symbols, you have to remember a few exceptions and how things might change, and then you have to repeat it and practice it over and over again. But there's just not that much to it. And especially if we're talking about contemporary popular music, the vast majority of contemporary popular music is in 4/4 time. And it doesn't use a terribly high degree of subdivision of the beat. So you're talking about maybe whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, maybe 16th notes that you have to memorize the symbols for. And then you've got to memorize the 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. It's nice if you can go back and front. And then sharps and flats and what they mean. It's just not really that much information to then be able to practice it. But the practice is the part that will make the difference in terms of how fluent you are with it. Reading music, it's a really good thing to do. It will set you apart from many other vocalists that just haven't bothered to do it. And lastly, above all else, do it anyway. It has become easier than ever for us to have reasons to not do things. But there's another word for reasons, and I think too frequently we confuse the two, and that is excuses. We don't have, checking Twitter isn't a reason. It's an excuse. Checking Facebook or whatever else, insert your social media of choice. You get my point here. There are lots of reasons why we run out of time on a daily basis, but I don't think that they're necessarily reasons. They're primarily excuses. Do it anyway. Do the practice anyway. Do the evaluations of health and fitness and food choices anyway. If you're nervous about sharing your work with people, do it anyway. Choose carefully who you might share your recordings with, if that's what you're sharing, but do it anyway. Nervous about creating content online or recording your first single or working on an album or hiring a coach or hiring a co-writer or someone to write with you or posting on Craigslist or the advertisement website of your choice to find a writing partner or a performing partner or an accompanist or a guitar player or someone to play in your band or to form a band or learning a DAW, a digital audio workstation, you're nervous about or you're afraid of these things, do it anyway. The fear barrier is too frequently a barrier when there's nothing to actually be afraid of. Learning to use a DAW, a digital audio workstation, whether you do or not, is not going to fundamentally change how your days look. It might change it over the long term if you learn how to use it and you no longer have to pay someone to do it. That might change things for you. But if you try it and you don't manage to even get rudimentary skills going, then paying someone else to record for you, that hasn't changed. You spent a little bit of time working on the digital audio workstation. Don't want to pay up front for one? Try Reaper. There's an incredibly generous 60-day trial period, which is, quite frankly, kind of indefinite. I personally have bought a Reaper license. I think it's a great digital audio workstation. It is super, super deep. You can do almost anything with it. But in the words of Kenny Joya, just figure out what you need it to do and focus on that. If you try to learn everything that Reaper can do before you just make your recordings, you're missing the point. Reaper is what it is to fuel your artistry. But equally, you could say that about Cakewalk or Sonar or Pro Tools or Logic or GarageBand. Do it anyway. And tell me how it goes. The comments are open and I look forward to hearing from you. Sure, this video probably won't get watched too frequently after we get into the new year, but always feel free to come back and leave a comment about how your year is going. How can I point you in a direction to help you achieve your goals? What do you want to see on this channel that would help you achieve your goals? Do you want me to do a video on how to read music? Do you want me to do more ear training practices? What do you need that I can help you with to fuel your artistry and creativity? Because now more than ever, I am super charged up about music, about creativity, about helping people sing and helping people understand music on a fundamental level so that they can make the art that they want to make. Because above all of this other stuff, above all else, there is but one you. And the music that you want to make, unless you make it, isn't going to be made. So I hope that you will make that music. Share it with me. Do it anyway. There's no time like the present. Have a wonderful, wonderful new year. Happy 2022. Welcome to 2023. Bye.